Hey folks, I'm reporting from Bothell, Washington. So a large part of my research centered around researching like my grandfather's connection, James J. Pettigrew, to the Love family cult, aka the Church of Jesus Christ at Armageddon. So about, I don't know, a couple miles north of here is the neighborhood I reported to earlier. This is 174th, the street that I'm on. And it's really close to this really nice park down here, as you can see, right? And so this is just one little loop in here. If you look it up on a map, and it'll probably be the screenshot for this video clip, then you just see all these really nice colorful houses as you go along here. Well, if you look up on the property records, at one time, these were all owned basically by the Love family. So the guy's name was Paul Erdman, and he was from the Church of Jesus Christ at Armageddon. So everything that goes pretty much down here and a whole bunch of the associated properties, the more you look into it, I'm telling you, I was looking into record after record, and I was finding things that it's difficult to explain without having it on a whiteboard and showing you specific things. But like, this is 174th year in Bothell. And so I would see a name that would cross like the name Cruz with something within the Love family Israel, or something consistent with their naming conventions, like Israel Cruz, for example. And so I'd find businesses here on 174th that would say like 174 Bothell, but then I would find the same names, maybe with it being Cruz Israel or Israeli or Raphael or something like that, right? Where it was a similar type of name, but it was in Florida. And it was like in Halal or some, I can't remember the town, but there was like matching 174s to the property records here. So like if it was an address here, there was a parallel matching of a record somewhere in Florida. That's what I thought was kind of interesting. So as a pattern recognition person, it's one of those things that makes you go, wait a second, not only is this like where that cult resided, but they owned all the houses. I mean, like if you look, like a whole bunch of them. And then I was noticing that like this isn't something that just sort of went away. Like it kind of did, but not really. No, some of the people that I've seen on the property records associated on this block are still active and still using the names that the cult gave them. So this is, the story is that it's just this fun hippie cult thing. They all had this experience and then they left it, right? But I found records, and again, maybe it's changed since I looked last, but that some of these homes that you're seeing on this block are owned by the names Energy Israel and Justice Israel, who assuming that they used to have a name like John and Jane Doe, whatever that was, and that when they joined the Love family, they changed it to that, and then they legally had their names changed to the Justice Israel and Energy Israel. But you see how that's also a little bit interesting, seeing as how everything that I've connected to this cult and the olive simulation and all the LARPing and everything else like that connects to my aunt, who was in the Department of Justice and was blacklisted by Russia as part of that case. And by the way, her and my uncle used to reside in the other enclave up on Queen Anne Hill that was another enclave of the Love family cult, which makes me wonder, who were these people really? Who was really in the group? See, the whole thing feels like it was whitewashed. Like the property records here have been whitewashed. Everything in my grandfather's neighborhood's been whitewashed. Somebody's just trying to cover up what actually happened. And part of the cover up involves this cult that owns a lot of the homes on this block. And again, to any of the nice people that are here that have nothing to do with that or might have bought a home since then, I apologize if this is all like shocking. I don't think anybody's listening to me right now, but it's just that that's what I found when I looked it up. So either the record systems are lying to me, or in fact, there does appear to be quite a bit of ownership that goes all the way through this loop of homes connected to the Love family, Israel, and the Church of Jesus Christ at Armageddon, or whatever names or whatever they're using today. Here's what's interesting though. When I started digging deeper into the people that are still active in the cult, I started finding them raising glasses at wineries, and some of those wineries were closer to the Canadian border in Washington. But again, those Canadian wineries sometimes had nearly identical names to ones that I find near, of all places, near the Hanford Nuclear Reservation, like Horse Heaven, things of that nature. Like there's a Horse Heaven that's up there in Prosser, calling one that's in Prosser and having another name of a winery of one that's closer to the Canadian border, so that you can have two records that have a similar name. Again, a lot of other reporters have talked about this, where you create companies that have nearly identical names, but maybe you pluralize one and not the other, but they're technically two different companies, but then you can scrub records between the two. That's kind of what the olive simulation does to all of our reality. It kind of creates an alternate reality and then aggressively pushes that alternate reality to us and our physical reality until we accept the bogus information given by the Olive simulation. Then pretty soon people wind up owning real assets using the Olive simulation and the fake names and everything else that the simulation tells them to do. And then, you know, it makes it incredibly easy for them to harvest property and companies and wineries and all the cave systems close to it, which is really what I found close to the group that was connected to it. So I don't want to get anybody's image inside the thing. So I'll just take you a little bit down here so you can see how nice this area is and this property is, because we're in a very posh suburb of Seattle. And so the fact that this cult that alleged to have, like, you know, had these financial problems still wound up being able to settle with pretty much owning almost an entire neighborhood. I mean, it's almost like they own a whole freaking neighborhood. At least they did the last time I checked, guys. I've seen actually that some